My name's Melissa, and I'm with AKSourceLink. And today we're really excited to have Sam Dickey of the U.S. Small Business Administration with us talking about small business resources from the SBA. This is part of a greater webinar series that we have going with funding provided by the USDA. It's called the Build Your Business Rural Entrepreneur Webinar Series. So I'm going to spend just a few minutes introducing a little bit about AKSourceLink as a program and a resource and a website, how you can interact with us, and we'll kick it over to Sam to get into his presentation. AKSourceLink is a network of 145 resource partners. Each of these resource partners are either nonprofits, governmental, or university organizations, and they all provide some sort of resource to small businesses and small business owners across Alaska. So you can visit AKSourceLink by going to AKSourceLink.com, where we hold the wealth of our information, or you can get in touch with us through the toll-free hotline, which the number's on the screen there, 8885-LINK-AK. So essentially through the website you can interact with us in a number of different ways to get a lot of different types of resources for your business. First of all, we have a blog. It's a shared blog across our different affiliates from around the country. So you'll get a lot of business tips, trends, and talks entered there about twice weekly. Then we have our newsletter, which is hopefully maybe some of you found out about this event. If you didn't, you should definitely follow that hyperlink and subscribe to it. It's not currently a hyperlink on your screen, but when we post it up to the website, it will be. So our newsletter goes out about once a month, and it focuses on different events that are happening around Alaska that would be of interest to Alaskan entrepreneurs. It fits in really nicely with our calendar, which is where we feature all the different statewide entrepreneurial events. And in fact, you can see a little bit of that map of Alaska there in the screenshot. And in fact, that's an interactive map that you can click on, and then you can find the events that are specifically available to you in your region. We have a resource library, which is a long listing of different semi-generic resources for entrepreneurs. You can search by different topics. For example, you can find resources specifically for women in business, for resources for writing a business plan, for getting legal assistance, for finding marketing help, all sorts of different business topics like that. You can just search through and follow different links that are mainly provided by our resource providers, so they're all trustworthy links, and you can get some different information about various different business topics there. If you don't really know exactly what kind of information you're looking for, you kind of have an idea of what your question is, but you don't really know who to go to or how to find that information, that's when it's best to use our Resource Navigator. That's a search engine provided through our website that allows you to put in a little bit about your business and what your business question is by using our drop-down selection menu. And then through that, you can get connected with the different business resource providers from across the state who can help address that business need. The thing about it, too, is that once you find all those resource providers, you can read a little bit about them, see if you think that they're going to be a good fit for you. You can get all their contact information, and then you can actually save a PDF of all that information, and you can print it out or you can have it on your desktop, and you can access that info later. There are lots of different ways that you can connect with AKSourceLink and utilize it as a resource to help you grow a small business or to help other people in your community to do the same. Also connect with us through social media. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/AKSourceLink, and then we're also on Twitter, and you can follow us at AKSourceLink. So if you need any personalized assistance, you can also contact us. Lisa Whedon is the network builder, and her contact information is there. And then I'm Melissa Houston, and my information is here as well. Please do feel free to send me an email or to give me a phone call if you have any specialized business questions that I might be able to assist with. In fact, I just want to let you know again that this webinar is a part of a greater series, and so I would encourage you all to check out our listing of all of our next upcoming webinars. Our next one will be taking place August 20th, and it will be about the nuts and bolts of business planning. So figuring out whether or not owning a small business is right for you, and if it is, how to get started. So we have a lot of great presenters coming up in this series, and we certainly hope that you will get involved with all of them. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to Sam Dickey of the U.S. Small Business Administration.
Melissa, and thank you for all your time today, everybody. I would like to thank USTA for funding this webinar series. SBA is a federal agency that has been around since 1953, and our mission is to help aid, counsel, and protect small business and protect their interests. Some small business doesn't get thought processes of Congress, so we want to make sure that they stay out in front. So when new laws are implemented, new regulations are implemented, don't adversely impact small business more than what a big business. Serve the free enterprise system, maintain and strengthen our economy. One of our missions is to help get into government contracting, which can be a very challenging operation. The bottom line is that we're here to help your business start, grow, and succeed. And we have a suite of tools to do that. We have services in 5 areas that measure the 3, and the 3 we're going to spend most of our time talking about today are counseling, capital, and contracting. Many SBA employees are former business owners, but many are not. So we do a lot of our counseling and training through third-party partners. The Small Business Development Centers, there are 7 of those throughout the state. You'll find in Anchorage, Fairbanks, Wasilla, Kikan, Juneau, one coming soon to the Bethel area and to Nome. And I think, yeah, so they're available. They're professional business counselors who do everything from help you kind of figure out a basic issue, figure out a financial issue. They can review your business plans for you, they can review marketing plans for you, or just help you talk through some problems and issues. All these folks are very experienced. Most of them are former business owners. Some of them still own businesses. So they'd be a great deal of help because they've been there, done that. I always tell people you've never really lived until you've lost a night of sleep on Thursday, wondering if you're going to make payroll on Friday. But it's a pretty good feeling when you actually manage to pull that off. Our second biggest partner is called SCORE. If you've been around, you may remember SCORE as being the Service Corps of Retired Executives. But years ago, they did a study and found out that most of them are not retired. Many of them are still active business people who just want to give back to their communities. So they do active counseling, and many people are still in business. They've either owned or run businesses of others and have substantial experience. The advantage with SCORE is not only can you find a counselor who can help you with your business issues, but oftentimes you can find one with direct experience in your field. That kind of advice can be really useful to you. We have some special centers, with business centers. Their target is, of course, women. They will service anybody, but their target is to help women break into business and stay there. Many of them offer a variety of services, up to and including micro lending. We are currently without a women's business center, but we expect to have one line hopefully in the next 12 months. We work with several partners that are not part of the SBA family. The first 3 all receive SBA funding, but not all of our partners do. One is PTAC, the Procurement Technical Assistance Centers. Their whole job is to help you and your business find and participate in the federal marketplace. They also help you with state, how to just look at state contracts or even municipal contracts. The Alaska Railroad also uses that program. They can provide a wealth of information from how solicitation to how to prepare a proposal and how to manage a contract. They are specialists in that area, and they're very good at it, and their services are all free. Virtual services we're going to talk about today are free. The Small Business Development Center does charge for some things. Mostly those are some of the seminars. But any counseling you ever receive will be completely free. Another group we work closely with is the Minority Business Development Agency, and they're actually co-located with Melissa over SourceLink, and their target is to help folks, particularly minorities, get businesses up and running, and they have a heavy concentration toward government contracting as well. But they can answer a great number of various questions for you. We also work largely with the Alaska ARDers, the Area Regional Development Authorities. I believe there are 12 ARDers in the state. Each has a different mission, different location, and you connect with one of them, and they'll be happy to help you. If we can find an auditor closer to you than us, we will be happy to refer you them. We'll always be happy to refer you to somebody else who can answer that question or take better of you than we might be able to. Often as all, yes, I can help you, but you would be much happier with the help you may get from somebody else. We all talk to each other quite a bit, so we're familiar with what the other folks can do and what their strengths are, and so we're always willing to pass you off to somebody who can provide you the best assistance possible. So never feel bad about calling anyone more than another, because if they reach a point where there's a better place for you to be, everybody will be happy to point you that direction. If you have a question, feel free to give me a call. We'll stop a couple of times for additional questions. But if you have any questions, feel free to just let me know, and we'll get those answered. A lot of people that we see want information on how to start your business. All of the folks we just talked about can help you with things like professional counseling, help you with business planning, help you with networking, help you find resources. They can help loan applications, whether it be for a standard commercial business loan or whether it be for a guaranteed loan, which there are several loan guarantors, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we move along. There are also some special emphasis programs directed toward our veterans, toward our Native Americans, and to socially and economically disadvantaged citizens. We find those groups sometimes have issues kind of getting the standard set of services that are available for what reason. So there are special emphasis programs in those to make sure that you're getting the assistance that you need. Growing your business, what the SBA does typically is we do loan expansions, or we do small business expansion with a loan guarantee. Our products can be used for virtually any purpose. Use it for your product line, use it for exporting, use it for working capital, for marketing, for sales, and to purchase new equipment, anything except payroll. And there are circumstances where you can use it for that. If you want to buy a building, build a building, improve what you got there, replace equipment, do training, do marketing, all of those things would be qualified expenses under our loan programs. So there's a lot of use and a lot of wide open area there, and not a lot of restrictions. We also have a wide online network. SBA.gov is our website. On there you can find over 17,000 pages of information, from very, very basic. So you want to go into business. Have you thought this through with a small questionnaire, 10 points? Are you ready to be an entrepreneur? Sometimes I find people who answer those 10 questions and find out, maybe this isn't for me. And that's not a bad thing. You probably just save them from going broke. But if for you, there's lots of other help that can be had, and we'll try to make sure that you get that help and that assistance. We also go through our online training to help fill knowledge gaps you have. To be really successful, somebody needs to understand, one, their product or their service that they offer. They understand the market that they're in, both in terms of the industry and in terms of the area they're in. They also need to understand their customers. They also need to understand kind of the financial aspects of things. Now, I know lots of people who are good at 2 or 3 of those things. I don't know anybody who's got all 4 of them. So if you need help, even starting up, you may not be great at something, but we can provide some assistance to help you fill in some of those knowledge gaps. You want to get wrong on your taxes, your accounting, how to raise money, how to do franchising, how to do advertising, and many, many other topics. The SBA's website has 60-plus training courses on there, which are very basic through business planning and up through pretty advanced topics like various contracting issues, and even courses on how to get out of business once you're there. If you've ever been in business, one of the things you quickly find out that closing down can be almost as complicated as opening up. So in order to help you figure that process out and get that done in a fit manner, we actually have a training class on how to close your business down. Although we'd really much rather that you kept it open. Our training network consists of a virtual campus with several free training courses, workshops. There are lots of resources there for entrepreneurs, for students, for teachers who wish to teach entrepreneurship. And you can always call our office. We would be happy to help you with putting together a special seminar if you need one. We can do that through a webcast just like we're doing today. We'd be happy to do that for you because oftentimes you want help, and we provide that, but it's a long way to Anchorage, and you may get here, and you want to make sure that you get the help you need. James, to answer your question, yes, we are based out of Anchorage. Our one of their examples of successful businesses that may have gone through the SBA to start their business. Many, actually. Think of some. Wheat Harvest Bread Company. And these are some of their local examples. Alaska Bowl in Fairbanks was one. A great number of restaurants. A couple of sporting goods stores have been, I think Mountain View Sports was one of them. It was started through an SBA loan. On the national scale, there are a lot of names you would recognize. Nike, Microsoft, Adidas, they were all SBA loans at one point or another. Columbia Outdoor Apparel was one as well. Trail Boss Enterprises, which is a large construction firm, was an SBA borrower. It's interesting. You think of these all the time, and once somebody would jump out and ask what they are, it's like, wow, where are they? We've found several of the Red Robins that are out there. So we've found several new businesses and several franchise businesses. If you can find a Subway anywhere near you, that was probably done with an SBA loan. So we do a number of those as well. A lot of little coffee huts you see on the side of the road. We've done a number of taxi cabs, which are considered to be independent businesses in most areas. So yes, there were several in the Nome area. Airport Pizza was one. So there have been several all over the state. Of course, we see the majority of them kind of in the Anchorage, Massachusetts Valley, because that's where the bulk of the population is at. Questions on the counseling or the training before I move on? And you either type in a little box, or if you're muted. If you're not muted, you can go ahead and speak up. If not hearing any, we'll move on. Challenges for any business, whether it's startup or whether it's growing, is financing. Financing can be a whole process to go through, or it can be fairly comfortable. SBA was at one time, you may have heard, we were considered what they call a lender of last resort. So you had to be turned down by several banks and get a letter saying we won't lend them money, and then you come to us and we would lend you the money. We no longer are a direct lender, so we're no longer a lender of last resort. Instead, the process has been streamlined greatly. You go to your bank and ask for money, and if the bank gives you the money, you're all set. If not, you ask, one, why, so that you can fix whatever the issue was, and second, what would the guarantee? At that point is when SBA gets involved. And what we do is we put a guarantee on your loan so that if something goes wrong, the bank doesn't lose everything. They get a portion of that, of their initial investment back. This helps negate some of their risk. It also helps the borrowers in terms of, let's say you've got a project going and you're pretty sure it'll be successful, but your downside is you don't have enough collateral for the bank to want to make the loan. Well, the SBA guarantee could serve as your collateral. You don't have owner equity injection. The SBA guarantee could serve as that injection. So it incentivizes the banks to make those loans they may not otherwise make due to their policy issues or some other issues like collateral. There are industries that you, by regulation, can only have as a bank. You can only have a certain number of those in your portfolio unless they have a guarantee. And that's done so you don't get a bank who is all of this one type of company. And if that industry goes bust, so does the bank. So they're forced to diversify. And one of the things that we can do is we can help finance those projects to to still allow banks to lend on them, yet not have them carry heavily on their books.
I'm going to interrupt you real quick here for quick housekeeping.
Sure.
If everyone could double check and make sure their lines are muted. We're getting some weird crackling on the end, and I think that might just be from someone's signal. So hopefully if we can all get lines muted, then it'll get rid of any sort of background noise.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm still hearing the crackling. Are other people? Okay, now it's gone. Great. Thank you, Sam. Sorry about that.
Sure. Another SBA loans is we can help you purchase major fixed assets. Talk major fixed assets. A real common one is the fire suppression system in a restaurant, for example. They're very expensive. Once you put them in, they can be there for years and years and years. Once you take them out, they're just that much twisted metal. Sometimes people are reticent to want to lend on that kind of thing, but the fixed asset program, that's not really an issue for us. We can do under either of our major programs, the 7A program or the 504 program. Either one will allow that fixed asset financing. Or a construction type, we do surety bond guarantees. We also have an equity investment program, have export assistance programs in case you're looking to do export deals out of state. Also, seasonal lines of credit that can be used either for the fishing industry or for the construction industry. There are others as well, but those are the two we see commonly up here. Guaranteed loan programs. We have two major programs, and each of those has several sub-programs. The 7 loan program is our primary loan product, it's our flagship product. Contained within that, those loans can be up to $5 million in the guarantee. None programs have a lower end. But having said that, in 20 years, I've never seen one less than $5,000. But they can go up to $5 million. In the 7A program, there are some other sub-programs to help with specific purposes. For example, the express loan programs, those designed for loans up to $350,000, and they require a shorter application, a shorter process on the part of the bank who's processing the application, less documentation from the borrower, and they process a little more quickly. So we see a very quick turnaround on those, in some cases as little as 24 hours. Export loan program is designed specifically for export lending. Export is a strange beast in that you oftentimes need a great deal of money right now, and there will be no money for several months coming back in on that. But once it does come back in, it all comes in at once. So with our program, there's a possibility of borrowing $500,000 now and making no payments until March, but the entire sum is due in March. We do those deals on a fairly regular basis. We have the Rural Advantage Program, which incentivizes lenders to lend in rural Alaska or any rural market anywhere. What the definition we use for rural is not Anchorage. If you're not in Anchorage, you'll be considered rural for the purpose of this program. One advantage there is it gives a little higher guarantee rate, which means that they have a little less risk hanging out there, and that incentivizes them to kind of make some of those loans. By very nature, startups are a little more risky because oftentimes whoever's starting that business doesn't have a great deal of experience in business. So that's the reason that bank may come to us for a guarantee on the startup. We do special purpose loans. For example, our seasonal lines of credit. We have builder's line of credit. Let's say you're a small construction company, you build houses, and you build 4 houses a season, but you build 10, but you don't quite have enough capital. We can lend you enough money through the seasonal line of credit and buy the supplies and everything you need to build those houses and pay those back at the end of the season when your money starts rolling in. The next is EDC, or the 504 loan program. The 504 loan program is a special purpose program, and it's for specifically the purchase and renovation of land and buildings. We want to be owner-occupied, so you need to occupy the majority of the building that you're building or buying. But in a typical commercial real estate deal, you can often expect a 15-year, maybe a 20-year amortization on the whole sum of the purchase. It oftentimes will not allow you to finance into that deal some of those permanent fixed equipment, like we talked about restaurant hoods a little earlier. May not allow you to do the project prep for building as part of that loan. The 504 program, those can all be rolled in as allowable project costs. One of the nice things about this program is where a typical commercial loan is going to amortize out at 5, 7, or 10 years. In the program, they're typically going to be 7, 10 to 15. They could be 20, in some cases 25. Also, you'll have to come into the deal oftentimes about 25% of total project cost as your investment. With this program, you can come in with as little as 10%. And though a regular commercial loan is typically a variable rate loan, under this program, 50% of the project cost will be a variable rate loan, percentage your investment. The other 40% is picked up by the CDC. That is a fixed rate loan. So that saves you some money in the long term. The rate right now is running a little bit at 5.4%. So it's not terribly expensive at the moment. And this program is very popular with lenders in Alaska. So all of the lenders are aware of it. And if you are interested in that, call our office and let us know. And we will hook you up with a gal who actually does those loans up here. It's wonderful to work with, and she'll actually backlog a lot of things for you. So she's great to work with. Next is the microloan program. The SBA has a microloan program. In that program, you can get a loan for up to $50,000. I'm going to stop there because we have no microlenders in Alaska at the moment. If you anybody who's in a position to be one and wishes to be, please have them give me a call. And the programs is one of the programs you don't want to use, and that is our disaster assistance program. You don't want to use it because it means your house is gone, but if you need it, you'll be happy it's here. After a disaster, whether it be natural or some other form, if a disaster declaration is made, and that has to be requested by the governor, the SBA will step in and FEMA will step in. FEMA will help kind of rebuild the infrastructure things, and the SBA will provide loans to folks to help them get back on their feet. Rebuild your homes, rebuild your businesses, whatever is required. Those are typically very long-term loans, oftentimes 30 years, with interest rates as low as 2%, depending on exactly the circumstance. So those are meant to help you get back on your feet. And those are generally available for a fixed period of time, usually six months to a year, depending on the scope of the disaster. If you have questions about those, feel free to give our office a call. I'm not aware of any of those open disaster loans at the moment. We don't have any still financing disasters out there. All of those periods have closed. Watch your local television stations or listen to your local radio. They will have announcements when if those happen. If there's something that happens in your area or if you're affected, and we typically will send folks out to the affected area to help you fill out the forms and the paperwork and get everything done there. Oftentimes we see checks in as little as 10 days. So it's a very quick program once it gets moving. Okay, like earlier, the 7A program is our primary program. It's our most flexible program. There is a financing guarantee for a variety of general business purposes. We can do most kinds of projects. There are some things we cannot do. For example, we can do a daycare. However, if daycare is attached to a church, probably not. We can do a bar, but if your bar also provides adult entertainment, we can't do that. We can help you finance your pharmacy, but if you open a marijuana shop, we can't help you that. So we can do a lot of things. It's not everything. really designed it for startup businesses and for existing small businesses who are ready to expand to go to the next level. Open a second location is a common use of this program. And they are all delivered through commercial lending institutions. Like I said earlier, you have to prepare your loan proposal and your business plan. You go to your bank. If your bank says yes, you're all set. If they say no, you'll want to give them why so you can fix it and ask what about with a guarantee. As I said when we were talking about counseling and training, small business development centers, SCORE, Minority Business Development Center, they can all help you prepare that business plan if you need that assistance. Our 504 program, that's long-term fixed rate financing. You can use the fixed assets for expansion, for modernization. We have a 504 loan that was actually for the purchase of a printing press. And that's because once a printing press is assembled, they're actually assembled in place and bolted to the floor. So it becomes a fixed asset at that point, and that particular was eligible for this project. They're delivered by certified development companies, which are private and nonprofit corporations that are up to do economic development work in communities. We have one resident CDC in Alaska, and that is Evergreen Business Capital. They're actually an office in Palmer. Their other offices are located in Seattle. Our other non-Alaska-based CDCs that participate, and if you wish and find a CDC from out of state that wishes to finance your deal, that's not out of the realm of possibility. We'll be happy to talk to them about doing that. Any questions on financing before we move on? Okay, I don't see anything in the chat box. So, the last of our three biggest sets of programs are business development programs. They take the form of contracting opportunities. The federal government buys everything from chewing gum to battleships. We don't buy a lot of chewing gum. We do a lot of battleships, but we kill trees and count beans for a living. So if you're going to figure out how to sell us paper and paper clips, you'll probably do okay. We are the largest single buyer in the world. And like I say, we buy just about everything. There are very few things we don't buy, and every day I learn something new that the government buys I didn't know we did. Learned something new yesterday. So what product is, whatever your service is, let us know. We can help and see if the government buys that. It's often just a matter of how much of it they buy. There are goals. 23% of all federal contracting dollars are supposed to be set aside for small businesses, and they're small businesses in these 5 groups you see in front of you: women-owned businesses, small disadvantaged businesses, businesses owned by service-disabled veterans, businesses owned by areas of social and economic disadvantage, and then the historically underutilized business zones, which the first 4 are based on your qualifications as a person. The last is based strictly on location. We'll talk a little bit about more of those as we go along. 20, and there's the category that's not up there is just a small business in general. 20% of federal contracting dollars may not sound like a lot of money, but based on the federal spend in 2011, in Alaska alone, that was a little over $826 million. So there is a fair amount of traffic going on up here. And, if you've got to take advantage of that, by all means, you should do so. I think you can only be in one program. If you qualify for all 5 programs, by all means, get yourself signed up in all 5 of them. The women's program is a self-certification, as is the small disadvantaged business and service-disabled business, disabled veteran-owned businesses. Literally declare yourself to be that, and poof, you are in a matter of minutes. 2 programs, the 8A program and the Hub Zone program, are formal certifications. There is an extensive process to go through in either of those to qualify for those. In the case of Hub Zones, it's likely going to take you about 3 months to get certified from the time you get your application in. In the A program, very easily be 6 months. to get yourself certified in that program. All the programs are open to you until you are no longer eligible. All when you're no longer a service-disabled vet. I can't imagine that would happen, but if it's the case, then that would be the point at which you would come out of that program. The place we really see that happen is the Hub Zone program, because the economics of an area change, and so that qualification may come out due to that. The exception to this rule is the social and economic disadvantage, that 8A program. That program is a business development program that is 9 years in length. You are eligible to use the program once in your life, and your business is eligible once in its life. So you really want to be kind of up and running and kind of have it together fairly well by the time you apply for that program, because 9 years is not very long, particularly the federal contracting arena. The hardest contract to get is the very first one. Once you get that and perform, you're usually in pretty good shape. We also do disaster recovery loans. They're low interest loans. They're businesses or individuals. Their primary purpose is to restore your primary residence, to repair or replace uninsured property, to protect an economic injury, or even in the case of our National Guard and Reserve members, if you as the owner were called up to serve the Guard or Reserve, or one of your employees was called up, then they'll be declared disasters. And several things can be done for you, including they could suspend your loan, they could suspend the time that you're in the 8A program, so that doesn't keep ticking on you. There's some relief when you come back. Economic injury is a little bit different from a natural disaster. We can all see that a natural disaster is the wildfire comes through and shuts everything down, and that's pretty horrific, and we can all see where that's a disaster. But it can also produce not just a disaster, let's say in a couple of years with the big fires by Toke. That's a disaster in Toke, but there were economic disasters declared as far south as Homer, because thousands of cars a week that would normally have come in through the border and through Toke were not coming through. So, in addition to those fires, folks are coming and reaching Homer and Soldotna and all those other places they drive up here to see. So those areas actually were included in the economic disaster. When the freeze collapsed several years ago, that was an economic disaster in order to help people keep their boats. A disaster was declared, and we were able to lend them money to keep their boats and keep their payments up. So there are some special circumstances. It doesn't have to be a natural disaster. It doesn't have to be a fire. It doesn't have to be a hurricane. There may be any other number of circumstances that would have a huge economic effect on your business, and they're designed to help protect you from that. Now, say restore your primary residence. You know that your primary residence just got whisked down the river due to a flood. You do not have to replace your residence in the same place it was built. You can replace it elsewhere. You can decide, well, I'm not living in Deering anymore. I'm going to live in Baltimore. And in a disaster home, you can relocate your home to Baltimore and rebuild there. That's true of your business. That would encourage you to leave your business in the affected area, because it will help bring back jobs and help bring back the economy in that area. There is no requirement that you actually do so. You can actually move to a different town, a different state if you wish to. The disaster assistance program, like I said, they are low interest loans. Home renters, businesses of all size, most private nonprofits are all going to qualify. We can repair or replace real estate, personal property, machinery, equipment, inventory, business assets, any number of things. There are very few things that would not qualify under as an allowable use under a disaster loan. And then we have a lot of other additional resources, online training, SCORE. One nice thing about SCORE, we talked about the Emergency Counseling Service. They're a volunteer group with about 17,000 members nationwide. Oftentimes you can find AKSource's direct industry experience, you go to their website. On the very front page, there's a button that says Find a Mentor. You put in what you're looking for, you click Find a Mentor, and it will give you back a list of names of people who have identified that as a strength area for them. You then send them an email saying, here's my issue, and they will reply. We've seen some of those relationships go on for years as they formed a long-lasting partnership with their mentor. Many of those have been very successful. Small business development centers, like I said, those tend to be more fixed. There are 7 of those out of Alaska. Don't have any in the way of business centers in Alaska. Our district office here in Anchorage. I also have one person in Fairbanks, a gentleman by the name of Scott Swingle. You're always welcome to call our office if you'd like. If he has to make a swing through Northwest Alaska usually once a year. So if you're interested in meeting him, let me know, and we'll be sure he drops by and visits with you. Let him know what he can do for you. We can try to help you with regulations and compliance, business compliance, and regulations in all 50 states are in one comprehensive website, business.gov. So you can know what the parameters are for let's say, inquiry in Alaska, Arizona, and Wisconsin, where they're all different. But one website will get you answers to all of those questions. So a great number of small business forms available on our website as well. Standard issued profit and loss statements, balance sheets, and other sorts of things that are kind of standard reports or standard things that you may need, customer service agreements, that sort of thing. They don't need to be modified for your particular business. They may need to be modified for your particular city, but they're there if nothing else as a template. And now I'm droned on. I don't know if anybody's still awake out there. Any questions? If there's anything that we can do for you, feel free to give me a call. I'm sorry, I neglected to put my contact information in the slides here. As well, my name is Sam Dickey, SAMDICKEY. My email address is sam.dickey@sba.gov. And my phone number is area code 907-271-4844. And you're more than welcome to call me at any time. And if I can't answer your question, we'll help you find somebody that can.
Thank you so much, Sam. I want to give folks one more opportunity here to ask any questions that they might have. You can type them in the chat box, or you can just go ahead and unmute your line to speak up. Now is a great time for that before we let Sam go.
Not a clue, but wow, thanks. That's a lot of useful information.
Also provide a resource guide. If you'd like, I'd be happy to mail that to everybody, which kind of, from very beginning to end, kind of all our services is one little magazine format. You can either send me an email, ask for that, provide your address, and I'll send it, or I don't know if Melissa has them or not. Send those out.
Mm-hmm. And I haven't noticed I did put Sam's contact information, both his email and his direct line phone number, in the chat box, so you can access it there. I just want to thank everyone for calling in today. I want to let you all know that a recording of this webinar will be made available at AKSourceLink.com. It will be in the resource library under the webinar archive section. So we'll have this webinar up there, as well as the 3 that we've held to this one, or the 2. And then I'd like to remind you to please email me if you'd like to get registered for one of the upcoming webinars in the series. And I hope you all have a good day. Thanks so much for being with us. And thank you again.
Everybody. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.